Hey, Jared.
Hey, Josh.
Why do big brothers think they're in charge of everything?
You talking about you or other brother?
Just in general.
Okay. Because they're older and wiser most of the time.
No, because birth order comes with a management license.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
I thought that was, instead of stepbrother stuff, I was like, oh, we're actually brothers.
Yeah.
But like the dynamics, the older and younger.
No, that's good.
Hey, welcome back to Screen Time Film, a podcast where we discuss a director's filmography. Currently just starting out early days of Adam McKay, just a few films in.
Yeah. Fourth?
Yeah.
Fourth?
Third.
Yes.
Third film. Step Brothers. Jared, we're men. That means a few things. We like to crap with the door opened. We talk about girls. We go on riverboat gambling trips and we make our own beef jerky. That's what we do. And now it's all wrecked.
Yep. Amen.
So, yeah, my name's Josh and this is my co-host, Jared.
Josh, I've been called the songbird of my generation by people who've heard me.
You sound like Fergie and Jesus.
Yes. Had a baby or something. I don't remember. He said something like that. It's so great because the line, like all you had to say was, we're men. And then I just started laughing because I know what follows.
So the other question is, Jared, don't even think about it. Just name it. Ready? 1, 2, 3. What's your favorite non-pornographic magazine to masturbate to?
Good housekeeping.
Good housekeeping.
Yep.
All right, so
underrated one is, that's so funny. The last time I heard that, I laughed so hard I fell off my dinosaur.
Yeah, that's a good one. Also, I think I put some in my notes too.
Yeah, we can
got a few.
We can fire them off later.
Yeah,
because I have a few more.
All right, so Step Brothers, it was 2008, so 2 years later. Rated R, which is the first two films are PG-13, so.
But there was probably unrated versions, or
I'm sure
they do whether it's actually unrated or not.
Yeah,
for material like we talk about. Yeah.
But the first two films are PG-13, so now they're getting a little
okay,
right? Like Anchorman and Talladega Nights were PG-13. So they're getting a little bit more confident in their, I think, because it definitely makes it harder in the theater when you do a horror comedy versus the PG-13, just to get your audience. So I think they were getting confident in their audience and their Will Ferrell probably being bigger name and being like, okay, we can push the envelope a little bit and still.
Well, it's the third movie and the track record of the first two probably. They're like, yeah, we can risk this being rated R and people still come out.
Yeah,
I'm sure they did.
Hour and 38 minutes. So good runtime.
Good runtime, yeah.
All right, our synopsis. 2 aimless middle-aged losers still living at home are forced against their will to become roommates when their parents marry.
Yep.
Director Adam McKay. Writers Will Ferrell, Adam McKay, and then John C. Reilly also listed as a writer on this one.
Okay.
Cinematographer, we got Oliver Wood again.
Yep.
And then composer, John Brion.
Could just be Brian. I don't know.
Yeah.
With an O. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very unique filmography that we can get into when we get there.
Production costs.
I wrote something down for this, but I don't remember where we're at now. After the first two.
Yeah. So last film was 72.
Right, that was way higher because all the NASCAR.
But then Anchorman was
pretty low,
26.
Right? Yeah. this cast too, though, even though it's like, yeah, like the subject matter, you don't need as much like all the NASCAR stuff and all that, which
Correct.
upped it a lot. I'm still going to go with, just because there's a lot of people, a lot of actors in this. I'm going to go 80 million.
Okay. No, 65.
All right.
So it went down a little bit.
Nice.
Like, see, I would have guessed lower than 65 because I mean,
yeah, but all these people were big already at this point,
right? But they're also, it's not as big of a cast. Like most of the movie, it's just the 4 people.
Yeah,
and then if you throw in like
that's true,
Adam Scott, like and Catherine Hahn, like in there, but then even then Adam Scott was like nobody then. And,
yeah.
So, but we can get it. So the cast, we got Will Ferrell, John C. Reilly, and then Mary Steenburgen, Richard Jenkins, Adam Scott, Catherine Hahn, Andrea Savage, Seth Rogen, Matt Walsh, Horatio Sands, Ken Jung Young, and Rob Riggle.
Yeah, all of them is like,
but they're all like little,
cameos. Those are very small. Yeah, you're right.
Seth Rogen down is all cameo. Andrew Savage is a little there a little bit because she's the
therapist. She's like a couple scenes. Yeah.
Which, did you ever watch the show? It was pretty good. I don't know. It was only like 2 seasons.
I did. I know what you're talking
sorry.
about. The comedy.
Yeah, the comedy. It was pretty good. It was pretty good.
Very
took me back.
Yeah, I watched it semi recently.
Oh, really? I watched it. It was a few years ago when I watched it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's like on Netflix now or something, but it wasn't originally.
No, it was on something weird.
Like on like a, not even, it might have been even like some random cable channel originally.
Yeah, I think so. It was definitely before we started the pod because I would have mentioned it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked it. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember being, it kind of had.
I liked it because it had her husband was the guy. He's in a lot of things, but I just know him as the main guy from Dead Man on Campus, which is a classic movie that I love. But I'm sure he's been in other stuff, but that's what I always think of him as.
But it was. I mean, it had like Seinfeld-esque vibes
sometimes.
Yeah, where like
it was not to that level at all.
No, but like just the like where just everyone around, and everyone around her just annoyed her. Like she's always like very
so
like,
more Curb sometimes too.
That same style. Yeah.
That's all she's really done recently, right? I don't think I've seen her anything else.
And then, of course, seeing Adam Scott and Catherine Hahn, who both done a lot of stuff lately, and bigger roles and things, and
so much now.
See him so young and this and
but this was
roles.
Well, she was in. Was she in Talladega? She's in the background in Anchorman mainly.
Correct. I don't think she was in Talladega.
I don't remember if she was in She might have been in the background again. But Adam Scott, I'm wondering, because this maybe was 2007, maybe when they were filming it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember when Parks and Rec started.
You're
probably
right.
Around then.
It had to be. He definitely looks younger in this than in Parks and Rec. At least from the last time I saw Parks and Rec. So, because Parks and Rec didn't start till towards the end of The Office.
Yeah. So this was probably right. Yeah, he probably did this movie. Probably went right to Parks and Rec, maybe right after this. So we didn't really know much because I don't remember what he did before that. Also,
yeah, he was in Party Down. What was that?
Yeah, but that was after that too.
After Parks and Rec or before?
Yeah.
Right now, I'm just gonna look it up because we're.
I know. I don't know what most of his 2000s look like because we know between Parks and Rec, Party Down.
Who was in
some movies?
He's in an episode of The Studio, which I haven't seen.
Oh, he's listed.
It just listed The Studio.
Nice.
Yeah, there must be a still upcoming.
I think I might have saw him in one of the trailers they released. So yeah, he's probably.
Party Down was 2009. So that was not too long after this.
Okay.
Let's see, Parks and Rec. Oh wait, that might.
Write in or leave a comment if you know kind of what Adam Scott was doing in his early career. Feedback at screentimepod.com.
I can't find Parks and Rec on here.
It's probably higher up because it does a weird with the dates, the years.
Parks and Rec was 2010 through 2015.
Oh.
Party Down was 2009 to 2023 because they did. So, yes, it was a couple years after that, and he did Party Down before, and he must still be doing. He must have did Party Down even for a little bit while he was doing Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Party Down was the one that, like, anyway. I think I even saw an interview he was talking about. He's like, no one watched it, which is true.
I watched it.
I did too, but it was very, very niche compared to Parks and Rec. But Parks and Rec, just like The Office, was not huge in the first season.
Right.
But it found its footing, just like all the great comedies.
Yeah.
A little bit later, and then a bunch of people started watching it.
Yep. For sure. So anyway, because of the main cast being a little smaller than I feel like Talladega Nights, so it had a lot more.
Yeah, you're right. It is, I guess, mainly the
a lot more scenes with a lot more extras. It seemed like, but I don't know. All right, so overall thoughts on this?
Was there any awards?
No.
Okay.
I mean, not Academy Awards.
Well, I was just wondering if it even got nominated for anything.
No. Nope.
Interesting.
They don't. I guess they don't have a category for like best comedy, right?
I don't know.
Like the
they
Emmys,
don't really
the
separate
Emmys do, but like not.
Yeah, for movies they don't really separate it out. I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't separate out the genres. It's just like best film and
yeah. So in that case, yeah, they're up against a lot of things then. Okay. Overall thoughts. I imagine you've also seen this movie. Several times.
Yes, several.
Again, probably like I talked about with the other two movies, I probably have seen this more because it was like this whole 2000s decade was like peak for me for my age.
Actually, now we're getting later 2000s. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
like this point, I had 2 kids.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, 2008. Yeah.
Yeah, Addie was 2007.
Yeah. I think the first thing I want to start with is the casting in this is perfect for honestly everyone. And the jokes per second that land in this film I think is like probably the peak. Well, I'll say there's like looking at it now, there's like a kind of trilogy of his movies that I think is like the peak of the comedy. Because there's the good stuff, obviously, in Anchorman, but not quite as much as Talladega. So it seems like Talladega, Step Brothers, and then our next one, The Other Guys, which is, I think, underrated. Because some people overlook it, and it's one of my favorites. But I think this kind of trilogy here, where he's at, is kind of peak for, like, at least for me, comedy-wise.
For Will Ferrell and Adam McKay together.
That too.
Because, I mean, like... We covered old school. Like I think was some peak Will Ferrell, but
that was
like
earlier.
That was earlier than this, in a different kind of role. He's not like the lead. Like these, he's the lead.
Yes, yeah. So, what else did I down? Oh, I also just wanted to shout out that besides, because we're not going to go through them with this director Adam McKay, but. Not much TV, but it's interesting the crossover with, especially early on. He directed an episode of Eastbound and Down that Will Ferrell was in, which was like one of the best episodes in the first season. And one episode of Succession and one episode of Winning Time, which is kind of the newest thing. As far as directing wise, like he's probably a producer on them for the whole thing. But those are kind of the only other things that he's directed, but this was kind of the peak time for, I would say, Eastbound and Down 2, which is right around now. And Will Ferrell shows up in the first season of that. And probably around 2008. It was like right in this time. But anyway, so I think this is the, like, kind of the high point of the comedy that Adam McKay specifically does with Will Ferrell and now John C. Reilly. And yeah, because our next one is also mainly Will Ferrell, but with someone else. But yeah, so I still love it. But I'm curious with you, when's the last time you've seen this? Like, has it been a while?
I don't remember. I mean, it was definitely a while ago. The last time I watched this.
Okay.
Probably not too long. I mean, I don't think I watched it like regularly after. So I probably saw it. I don't think I saw it in the theater. I'm pretty sure I didn't. So I probably saw it like right when it came out on DVD, and then maybe watched it, a second or third time around then, and then
you haven't seen it since then?
Probably not.
Like 2010, maybe.
Yeah, probably.
Wow. Okay.
So like at least 10.
I've seen it like probably
years.
a couple years ago. Was probably last time. So
yeah.
So I'm curious, what do you think with that bit long of a gap?
I mean, I think it holds up. It's funny. I think what makes it work so well and is like it's so relatable regardless. I think that's why it holds up. Like, I think just a sibling rivalry dynamic there's done so well where it's like at one point you hate each other and then they can flip and then you're like best buds and then hate each other, especially like two brothers. I mean, you and I and our other brother Micah. And I think it relates more with me and Micah to me, but like, just because we were close in age and growing up and just like, you're pounding each other, hating each other. And the next thing you know, you're like, dude, let's do this, and you're just like hanging out and best buds. So like,
that's how siblings are.
They represent that so well in this film.
Yes.
I mean, it's obviously over the top and ridiculous at a level, comedic level, but it's, the heart of it's there. And I think the other thing that works is like, no matter how ridiculous they get, pretty much the whole film, other than like the very end, crosses a little bit off of this, but like the parents play it straight. And the fact that the parents play it straight is like, helps ground the movie a lot more. I think because
makes it more real. Yeah.
It makes, because it's like, otherwise it'd be the same thing. We were like, well, we as an audience would be like, well, yeah, that's funny, but it's over, like it doesn't feel real. But then the fact that the parents are kind of like, and everything else in the world practically is grounded in kind of like, no, this is how life is. And then they're the only two. I don't know. I just think that dynamic works really well in this.
I agree. And it is definitely, you're right. 'Cause they pretty much through the whole movie, they just, every now and then, one of the parents will kind of throw in something or give them like a reality check to where it's like, hey, this is how it is. And that does help the film a lot. You're right. With, through the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, the last dynamic in there of just like blended family dynamics, which is also a common reality for a lot of people. And so, I think the base concept and execution of this still holds true today, if not even more so than did when this film was made. Because then the other part of it is grown adults still living at home that are just like not doing anything, right?
Oh yeah, that's now
like that's gotten even worse now than before.
Oh yeah. There's a whole thing of that with different generations. Yeah. Well, it's not only because we don't need to get into all that about like just the cost of everything now plays a factor, but yes, the people in general in different generations, more recent generations, staying home longer or later in life, figuring out careers later. Yeah, there's a lot of factors that go into it. That's definitely, you're right. It is. So yeah, I guess it's funny to think this film would be more relatable now than
in some ways
ever than when it came out. Yeah. Yeah, because this would have been right around like the big recession last.
Right. When it came out. I mean, that happened in 2007.
2007. Yeah.
But they wouldn't have been able to predict that because when they were writing it. Yeah. So, but it definitely hit like not too long after this.
It's funny. Speaking of that though, because one of our later movies is about that. Which I'm so excited to watch that movie again, Big Short, because it's I love it.
All right, we'll get into a little more some of the specific things in the movie.
Is this? Well, when we get later on, we can kind of go through them. We don't have to always because we don't really rank all the movies of the director, but so far these three What do you think? Has it gotten like better? I know you definitely like Talladega more than Anchorman. So do you like this more than Talladega?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do too.
I think there's a stronger balance of what I was just talking about, which kind of grounds it and doesn't make it, even though some of the stuff is ridiculous, but
yeah, but that stuff is,
I know. No, I know.
That stuff's great.
Yeah.
And it's not too much, like you said. It's good balance, yes.
I imagine this was also, I mean, I feel like, did we read this last time or is it just me projecting? But like, I feel like the dynamic that you saw between these two guys as bros and Talladega almost was like, oh, that was the best part. Let's write a whole movie around that.
Yeah.
This might have been where the idea even came for this,
Yes. Yeah, I mentioned on the Talladega pod, like you could see how good their chemistry is together in that. And I was like, yeah, probably had something to do with Adam McKay.
Yeah.
What do you want to do next? He's like, oh, let's just center it around them too.
Yeah. I just, first thing I wrote was like the quote at the beginning of the movie was like actual quote, because obviously the quote at the beginning of Talladega was made up. I'm sure. I mean, I didn't look it up, but I'm sure it was made up. And so it was funny that they put like a real quote, and it's like actual quote.
Yes. I wanted to start with, besides our two main leads, obviously, I think I've always loved him in this, but I think Adam Scott just like kills it in this movie. His character Derek, and not only like just how, which is crazy now, like because at that time you don't really know, but seeing him now, what all he's done with his acting career, but seeing how good he can play the douchebag younger brother, actually, which is interesting, the dynamic of Brennan.
Yeah.
Because you think he'd be the older, I don't know. To me, I thought like, because that was something watching this time, like, oh yeah, he's the younger brother.
I mean, you're right. Traditionally, like the firstborn's a little more driven, and then it tends to be like a second or third or whatever. That's like a little bit ends up. And that's just traditional. So,
but so like so he's just perfect with that vibe. But his comedic timing in this is so good. I think an underrated part also is like his cadence and tonality with the way he delivers certain lines is so great in this. It's just he just kills it in this.
Very true, very true. Yeah, he was great. It was great, and it was good just to see him do something different. I guess.
Also, he's never done this like douchey of a guy like in anything else. I don't think that I've seen him in.
Yeah, I mean, Parks and Rec, he's not. He's complete. He's like the nerd. He's the nerd, nice guy.
Especially as it goes on later with Cones of Dunshire and all that. Like he gets even more nerdier in that.
And then Party Downey too. He wasn't too douchey.
He was just kind of like just a normal guy in that. Yeah. Not super nerdy, just kind of like random, everyday dude.
Yeah.
And I mean, Severance is a whole nother thing too. What he is in that.
Yeah.
I'd say in general, like not the difference between the ending and outie, but yeah. So it's just great that this is, I guess, is the only, maybe he's done something else where he's done this type of role, but he did it perfect in this.
I just put it like, I think it's the moment is so rewarding, the moment when they finally like become friends, because the whole time you're watching it, you're like, you're the same person. You guys should get along. And so once I realize it, it's I feel like it's something it's building up to as an audience watching, and so when it finally happens, you're just like excited for it so much.
Yeah, but at the same time, some of the funniest moments are them being standoffish with each other at the beginning. Yeah. So, I don't know, because I don't think I have a note about it, but especially like their first dinner together with like the fancy sauce and stuff like that. Like it's just, it like that's some of the funniest parts, I think. So
yeah, where they're just wanting to be antagonistic for the sake of being antagonistic and don't really just because I just don't want to like you. So I just going to be.
And this is will kind of perfectly go into my next point is like that scene, like the dinner scene with the fancy sauce, and I want to know how long it took to, and maybe, I don't know, maybe you can find it on YouTube, but I want to know how long it took to film this movie, because there's so many moments that, like, I don't know how they kept straight faces in this. You know, like, I want to know how many outtakes there were and how many times they had to shoot these scenes, because they do such a good job. I mean, the parents too, all of them, like, with just the most ridiculous things happening in the scene. And it's not like shows like Seinfeld or Curb, where you can see them almost like about to laugh, or they are, and they just kind of leave it. Curb, they even lean into that, where they just, like, a lot of it's improv, and they, even if they laugh, like, they just leave it in. But with this, it's like very serious, straight faces when they're doing something, like, even with the parents, which is just like, I can't imagine how hard it would have been to do.
Right. But I mean, like, being the third film, at least for the main guys, like,
sure, yeah,
kind of,
they're used to each other, but
I feel like I mean, I'm not saying, I'm sure there's times where they just lose it and can't control the giggles or laughs, but you know,
because we don't get it in the credits,
right? Which is, I did put that note, like, yeah. So I mean, something we talked about, talked about with, the other, the other director, and then.
Oh, Todd
Phillips' stuff, early stuff. And then the first two, like, it's so much fun when they do the outtakes and the credits. And then it's gone already on this one.
Yeah.
And then now they did the two post-credit scenes. So then, I mean, and then I'm like, oh, I guess at this point, you probably have Marvel and Avengers and stuff. And so maybe they were just like, oh, it's, that's the cool thing to do. Let's do post-credit scene. That'll be funny.
Yeah. Well, 07 was Iron Man. So yeah.
So
that would be,
maybe they ripped that off a little bit, and in the process of just trying to be, funny and stuff, and be like, oh, let's.
So did we find the cause of it? Was that is that the cause of the downfall of the? I mean, bloopers over credits was Marvel.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking when I was
probably
making this note. I was like, because when I saw post credit, I was like, oh, everyone wanted to do the post credit scene instead of doing the outtakes. Mm-hmm. So maybe they'll come back now that, because Marvel did that with what's the film? One of the films that did recently.
What, they didn't do a post credit scene?
No, they did. Well, they did that whole montage of all the like outtakes from
Deadpool and Wolverine.
That's what it was.
Yeah. It was all the original X-Men movies.
Yeah. All the outtakes and stuff, and
it was more just behind the scenes. It wasn't even like outtakes as much.
Well,
it was
not
just
like
them like hanging out.
But it's like, but just like like stuff like that.
That was very early 2000s bait in general, because it was like the original X-Men stuff, and then Good Riddance by Green Day being played, which is so funny that was a song they picked for that.
But I knew there was a film I watched that.
Yeah,
so
that was it. Yep.
Maybe that'll spark somebody to bring it back a little bit. I don't know.
I hope so. Well, we mentioned, what movie was it? Was it Hitman? Some movie recently that did do it, but that was more, we talked about that movie, felt like it
was Fall Guy.
Older. Oh, it was Fall Guy. Well, that kind of too.
Maybe. I don't know. I can't remember if Hitman had it or not, but
we were just talking about that one felt like
Fall
an
Guy definitely
comedy.
had like the outtakes in the end, and showing all the stunts they were doing and stuff.
Yeah, that was cool.
It was cool, but Hitman might have done it too. I don't remember.
They did something, but maybe I'm just thinking that just because it reminded me of an old, like an early 2000s.
Yeah, you're right. The vibe of it did. Yeah, which was great. I just the bunk bed scene. I love that just because Mike and I had bunk beds pretty much our whole, and the bunk beds.
Well, and then it carried over to Dre and I.
Did you guys use them? Did you have them for not very long though?
I don't remember So
like Mike and I had bunk beds until I was like 12 and he was been 10. So like a good solid 10 years of bunk beds.
Yeah. Oh, you guys definitely had it longer. So for the people listening and watching, Mike has not been on the pod yet, but we finally just got our sister, which is who we were talking about. She was on the Northman pod. So her and I are close in age. So yeah, we did.
Probably for a little bit younger, but you guys, I mean,
because it was the old bunk beds that Dad.
Because her being a girl, they tried to split you guys up earlier than later.
But we had to share a room for a while, and it was a nightmare.
It was a nightmare.
It was.
I mean, yeah. So,
I remember doing the line thing where I was like, "Do not cross this line."
Well, did you put the tape down? Because we definitely.
I don't know if I did, but you did.
There was a point where Mike and I had the tape down the middle of the room, and this side was yours, and this side's mine.
Well, also
he was such a messy, and I was
so
not.
So was Drea, and yeah, we are not. Yes. Oh yeah, that was the thing.
Oh man, but the funny thing with the bunk beds is like bunk beds are so cool, but then we were so excited to get them.
They can be dangerous, though.
But then you always fight for who hits the top. So then,
the top's cool.
So it creates like this like tension but it's also one space saving when you're sharing a room.
So much room for activities, like they say. Yeah.
So, but it was one of those things you're so excited and cool to get bunk beds, but then like the whole time we always had them, we were always fighting who got the top bunk.
Oh yeah.
So, but then and then you also it's inevitable you're horsing around and you fall off or fall down the ladder or something
that
happens.
definitely happened to all of us.
Yeah
Luckily because we didn't build it, Dad built it, so it was built really well, so it's not like the top just fell through like in this.
Well, and also it was built solid, that the one and
the pieces of that are still in my garage.
Really?
Yeah, it's all taken apart, but I have it there because I think Dad was going to get rid of it. I was like, no,
not that one we should keep.
Yeah, I know. Should rebuild it.
Put it. Yeah, we should
do something with it. Yeah,
we'll put it in the spare bedroom in here.
There you go.
So we got more room for people to stay and sleep.
Yeah.
Or
maybe I'll start rebuilding on my own. I'll just put it. I'll just put it somewhere for now, and then we can try. No, I mean I don't know how. I assume all the pieces are there. Like they're all sitting in the corner of the garage.
It's not a bunch of pieces because the way they built it, it's pretty. It's pretty like it's just like each end and then like the connectors.
Yeah, it should be.
It's pretty straightforward, but so it'd just be if you didn't have all the screws, but you can buy screws or whatever.
Yeah,
bolts or screws, whatever they built it. But yeah, anyway, and I think we still had I feel like even once we were. The only thing is that it is sturdy, but it also is not designed to be two separate beds, which is the most versatile. Would be like the ones that are designed, which was a set because we did have two sets, right? At one point, I feel like there was a second set because I think there's a point where you guys had bunk beds and we still had bunk beds.
Oh, I just thought we used the old one.
I think we had a second set that was
maybe
that was like that was purchased instead of built, and it was or Hammy maybe got it from somebody else, but like where they could be two single beds or they attached.
I remember
because or where was the one you'd have where like the bed could be not under it or something. I don't know. I'm trying to remember. I just feel like anyway, because I had my own room for a little bit, then went back to not having my own room when we moved into what's now the care home, and eventually then got my room again there. So really it might have even been longer than because if
you never had the privilege of living in the loft.
No, I did not. Did not have that.
In the little cave.
Yeah, did not
with
have
just
that
a mattress down.
Not have that privilege. Anyway,
some family lore. There you go. I want to say like one of my absolute favorites and always has been, and of moments of this film. Still watching it this time is every time Brendan looks at the drum set and we get that 3-second choir chant like Sting. I die laughing every time it does it, and even the one time it does it and it cuts off even shorter. It's so good. Like I love it.
Well, and then we kind of talked about a lot with Adam Scott, Derek, but his wife, played by Catherine Hahn, was also
she's great
in this, and just her coming on to Dale once he punches him is
And what she says to him, what she's gonna do that night because he punched him. Yeah, crazy. Yeah, that was. I mean, it's just. I like. Oh, well, I guess it would have been that scene. Yeah, because that's like their second dinner scene.
Mm-hmm.
Is when Derek and his family come, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
at first it's just them four.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Second dinner scene where she's there and
Yeah.
kids are there.
There's a line that I didn't realize he mentions this many people, but Derek said he was fishing with Mark Cuban from Shark Tank,
Yeah.
Chris Daughtry, which is the singer of the band Daughtry,
Yeah.
Jeff Probst, Survivor host, and Chef Bobby Flay. It's like the most random assortment of people.
Yeah.
And the way he talks about it too is just so. That's a perfect example of him, like how douchey he sounds. Like he's mentioning all these people, and then he was just saying like how awesome of a trip it was. But it's like the way he says it too just makes it even more douchey. It's so, yeah.
No, he plays that role so well.
But it's so funny because it's like obviously all of his other characters are not like that at all that he plays. But then also, obviously we have not met him in person, but any interview you see of him, he's just like he seems like the nicest guy, and he seems very more like his part. Like he seems very nerdy also in real life too. So it's just like I don't, he's doing this character so well, but he's not like that at all in real life.
Yeah.
But I don't know, behind the scenes, you never know, maybe he is. We all have those moments.
The boat.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the rap video that like
Boats and Hoes, yeah.
ends up with them wrecking the boat is I'd forgotten about that like part, like because again it's been a while since I've seen it, and like watching it I was like, oh, he's like, wait, who's driving the boat? And I was like, oh no, I remember.
Yep.
Just like it was like hit me right a second before they showed it, but it was still I was like, oh.
I didn't realize this time I forgot how like integral it was to like their like the parents' plans for like they're retiring their future, and then he's just so mad.
And then his like soul was crushed to death.
Oh yeah.
Every time, and he's
like, you know what I got? A broken soul. I don't remember. He says, yeah, he mentioned it like 5 different times.
Yeah.
To everyone. Oh, it was over Christmas. He's like, you know what I got for Christmas this year? Yeah. The other thing,
Broken
which is
dream.
broken dream. There it is. Yeah. The other thing is I guess the lead up to that second dinner scene with Derek and his family is singing Sweet Child of Mine a cappella in the car is another always been a highlight scene for me in this movie. Even though especially when Derek is singing, it's so badly dubbed. Like but it is funny. I don't know. That's just another one that like I quote all the time. But also, I didn't realize when he goes to his wife's when she does her part, and he's like absolutely horrible, telling her how bad she is at singing. He says $1,200 a week for vocal lessons, which I mean that's crazy right now. And this is 2008, 7, whatever. Like, that's insane. I don't remember that anytime I watched it before. Mentioned like that part, but yeah, insane.
Yeah, right.
And that's just for her, and I imagine he's paying for the whole family because his kids are killing it in the back seat singing. So he's paying that for his whole family.
Yeah,
insane.
And then he almost wrecks. he's
getting into it too much. Yeah.
Oh man.
All right, I only have one more note, and then just a couple random like quotes that like are probably the ones I've thought about the most and I've used the most in my life from this movie. So I don't know, how much more do you have?
I just again, Brennan dating the therapist, but like
not dating.
But then, like, she's there
at the end.
Of course, then she's like, well, he threatened that he's going to kill himself, so I had to show up illegally. But yet there's like that hint of like...
She likes him, even though she overly explains how there's no sexual connection whatsoever. Yeah.
So thought that was funny. It was just like, it was a good kind of pace of that, like, happening and like brought up again and again.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know, this might be because I think I've watched this time the unrated or extended version, whatever. But there was nothing new in it that, like, I don't remember from before, and it was still around the same length, like you mentioned, the runtime. But there's one thing, so maybe this wasn't in it, the version you watched or not, but it goes into that, and it was towards the end. There is like a little, very, very short, like, dream sequence of the therapist, like, having this little vision of Will Ferrell saving her, and he's like a lumberjack. It's very short, so maybe that's something they added.
I did see that. Yeah.
And then the other
it's
one
like,
is...
Oh, it's during... Like, because right after... Like, she shows up at the...
other one is the Catherine Hahn with John C. Reilly. I don't remember the scenario for that one, too. But that's another really short one.
Yeah, she envisions...
It's like a little dream. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is in the... Because that one I didn't remember as much, so I didn't know if that was an extended thing.
Yeah, because she shows up at the end at the wine whatever thing.
Catalina wine mixer. The effing Catalina wine mixer. Also, just that in itself, like, we used to just, out of nowhere, like, me and my friends would just say that.
The Catalina wine mixer.
Yeah, just...
It's just funny because Catalina, like, you know what it is. At least I'm way more aware of it, what it is.
I'm not. What is it?
It's an island, like, off the coast of California.
Okay.
Because of the version of Mac OS that was named Catalina.
Oh, that's right.
And then it's that like because of that, and then it's like, I remember then, like, some of the YouTuber reviewers, like, even went there to kind of like get some drone footage of Catalina to then talk about that live in that area, to then like talk about the, and try to be like, oh, because it was like the desktop background was like a shot of the island,
right.
But yeah, kind of not too far off of, the Big Sur State Park and stuff.
I completely forgot that was one of the Mac OS.
So that's where like my more, hey, I've actually seen like at least live drone footage of this and seen a photo, and like I'm like, oh, I'm aware. I've not been there in person, even though I have been to Big Sur in person.
Nice.
But just like, that's what I thought about when it was like Catalina wine mixer, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's pretentious for sure.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah, I think it's most, other than just, I have some random quote of like, why are you so sweaty? I was watching Cops.
Watching Cops. That's on mine too. That was something that's also quoted all the time. Yeah. The couple others that I probably mentioned or would quote the most, that's my first one. And then, I'm not going to call him dad, not even if there's a fire. And then I'm going to put my nutsack on your drum set. That was a big one too. Which is just a great scene also, when he finally does. Actually, that's immediately afterwards. When he's watching Cops and he's...
Yep. And then he does that. And then what does he say? Well, my drum set's a man, so you're gay or something. Because
he does say that. I forgot about that part. This is a deep cut, so I probably didn't realize it when it came out, but I did this time. When he is in the act of putting his nutsack on the drum set, he says, John Bonham is playing Moby Dick for real, which is so funny because it's a Led Zeppelin song called Moby Dick, and John Bonham's the drummer. So I got it a lot more this time, and I probably didn't
quite click before. Yeah,
it was a good deep cut joke.
All right, we'll get into a little cinematography.
Hold on,
you have another
one more thing. Yeah. So this is when, I think during all the job interviews, but I'm curious about this. So the F, marry, kill thing. Because, yeah, he he mentioned in one of the job interviews. But yeah, it's when he's like, oh, we're going to interview you, actually. And then he's like, names 3 names. He's like, you got to F one, marry one, kill one. And I'm wondering if this movie invented that, because we would always bring that scenario up and just with people afterwards.
No, so I think I was around before that.
Was it? Okay. Because I don't remember. I didn't Google the origins of it, but it's just interesting. Because I remember ever since then doing that all the time with friends of mine. So let us know in the comments what the origins of F, marry, kill. Yeah. All right. That's it.
Well, there's not a lot to talk about here. Cinematography, but
no, I don't think I have anything in cinematography.
Just so most of it shot in like a very just straightforward, neutral way, and allowing just like the performances to shine through, and then most of that is lit brightly with like what they call high key lighting, which kind of just gives it like a TV family comedy vibe. So that's most of it. Then the job interviews, the montage, though, they definitely did a very different flat, like kind of like the fluorescent lighting, kind of like just the just.
Oh, to make you feel like offices.
And just feel very different, and also just like not appealing to just like how much they don't fit there. And then just there's some like good symmetry to mirroring, a lot of things with the brothers, showing their similarities, even though, I mean, obviously the very opening where they put the title, they're like on the
that was cool
opposites of the front yard, but in their bedroom, when they're like, they always are having like a very like, there's just a lot of times where they would like show this like establishing shot, and it's like very much like just a mirrored symmetrical shot, and then of course then they would go like to close to cut back and forth for the dialogue, but but yeah, but nothing crazy, but also straightforward and well done. Yeah. What it needed to be is not, sometimes it's like no reason to be over top of something that doesn't need to be.
No. I don't really have anything in cinematography.
All right, what about the score, music? Who's this guy that
John? I'm just gonna say Brian, even though Brian, I don't know with the no. Rion. Yeah, maybe it's French. So these first 3 movies, Hard 8, Magnolia, and Punch Drunk Love, that he did, are all early Paul Thomas Anderson movies, which have great scores, from what I remember. I haven't seen some of them in a while. And another one, Eternal Sunshine, which is a great movie that has amazing score. So, I mean, just that in itself. Then he did The Breakup and This Is 40, so some other comedies too.
Those are good comedies. Yeah. Especially This Is 40.
I love The Breakup. That's underrated.
The Breakup's good too. Yeah. But like,
This Is 40 I haven't seen in a while, I don't think. Yeah. But there's not much score in this. It's mostly needle drops.
Yeah.
But when there is score, I would say it kind of goes unnecessarily hard at certain points. Like, I was surprised, which it makes sense though for some of these other movies that he's done, that he's done some really very like, from what I remember, pretty technical scores. So yeah. So there was a very, very small moments, because I wanted to make sure to focus on it more this time, because I never have with this movie. I don't normally do that with comedies, because there's not really much normally there. So yeah, maybe This Is 40. Maybe I'll check that out again soon. That one I haven't seen in a long time. I've seen The Breakup a lot.
That's
I think that's This Is 40 is Paul. Is that Paul Rudd?
Yeah, Paul Rudd is the lead. Yeah. But I was just thinking of like the director.
Oh, the director. I'm not sure.
Isn't he's a producer on these?
Oh, really?
Judd Apatow.
Oh, sure, that
I think
makes
it's
sense.
Judd Apatow.
Right, yeah, because his wife is the which they've been married forever, so they probably were married at that point.
Yeah,
like, and she's in like all of his movies.
Yeah. Is he on our list?
I think so.
Okay,
let me make sure. I'll write him down if he's not.
Yeah,
he should be.
Yeah. All right. Well,
wow, he is not.
All right,
on our list. So I'm putting him down now.
So themes and messages.
Yes, I have something down for this actually.
All right.
So, because there was actually a good point to this at the very end of the movie, but what I have down is growing up is inevitable, but you should never lose your inner child. Don't lose your dinosaur, which is what he says at the end, which I think is a very good statement. So that was my.
That's kind of similar to what I just said. Grow up enough to take care of yourself, but still being authentically weird. So
yes, for sure.
But yeah, similar. Yeah, I agree, and it's a good message. Like it is. Don't lose that inner child. That
don't lose it. Yeah,
that uniqueness. That thing that like kind of sets you apart. But
yeah.
But also,
it's a good reminder too, because it's so easy too when you when you grow up and you gotta have all these responsibilities. Yeah. To then
when you're adulting and then it can quickly become all you do.
Yes. Then there's no room for play at all, or going back to those childlike things. But that's why we have things like Legos, which you just never stop doing.
So says the first thing on trivia. Do a little trivia. IMDb. Joaquin Phoenix claims he has seen this film more times than he has seen any other movie.
So random.
So random. Yeah.
That's awesome. So this is high up for him. Yeah. Joaquin Phoenix. Okay.
Adam McKay wanted to make this a drama, not a comedy.
Oh,
you can see that in there. That's what we were talking about.
Points.
That was like the like most of the film is.
Yeah.
It's just them that aren't.
Yeah.
Right. Everyone else is just being like straight like.
But for these two main characters that are in their 40s or whatever they are, and are like this, because like it would still work as a drama, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to see it that way now because we're so used to it being so comedic, but I guess it could work as a drama also. Yeah. It'd have to be like really serious then.
It says Mary Steenburgen. Is that how you say her last name?
Something like that, yeah.
She just, and I was like, oh yeah, played Will Ferrell's stepmother in Elf.
She's always the mom in like every
so many
movie.
things, yeah.
Yeah, so many things. Yeah.
I was thinking about that. I was like, man, it's like, I feel like she hasn't aged.
No.
In 20 years,
she always looks
20 or 30 years, she looks the same, but like she's always just plays like the mom.
Yep. She's in so many things though, yeah.
Yeah.
I saw she's in like the very beginning of Curb, like the first season of Curb, which I know is hard to watch because it looks so bad, but it's still a great season. Yeah, she looks the same in that. And that was 1999, 2000. I mean, that started very shortly after Seinfeld ended. Yeah.
Here's a fun little hidden gem. When the guys are showing each other the sword and the night vision goggles, there's a quick pan around the room. And on the top of the dresser is Hugo's Pizza car light, which is the same place that Will Ferrell's character on Talladega Nights worked at Hugo's Pizza.
Nice. I like that.
The George W. Bush quote displayed at the beginning of the movie is, "Families is where our nation finds hope, where wings take dreams," which is evidently a real quote.
That's right. That was a quote. I couldn't remember what the quote was from.
I didn't write it down. But
yeah.
I just remember thinking it was funny because it said actual, because it's obvious that the other presidential quote from that film was not real.
Yeah.
See, originally he went to Catalina Island for location shots and discovered that he didn't really like it. Instead, they shot it on the coast. Catalina appears in several shots, and McKay chose not to have it digitally edited out as a joke.
Okay. Seems like there's not normally as much with comedies.
Yeah, it's weird.
Trivia.
But it's weird that this one you'd think there would be.
Yeah, but even Talladega and Anchorman, there wasn't much either. But yeah, you think of these big comedies like this, you think there'd be a lot.
Well, John Hamm, Thomas Lennon, and Dax Shepard all auditioned for the role of Derek.
Okay.
And I think I just remember because Adam Scott was on Dax Shepard's podcast not that long ago.
Oh, yeah?
Doing the rounds for Severance season 2, and they talked about this.
They talked about it,
but like I think, like Adam Scott didn't know it. Dax Shepard just like mentioned it. He's like, "Hey, I auditions for that role."
Oh, so maybe this was a recent ad into the trivia.
I don't know.
Like it wasn't known before that.
Maybe. Adam McKay plays one of the job interviewers.
Oh, does he?
I guess I don't know what he looks like enough to like catch it.
I do only somewhat when I looked at his IMDb, but yeah, I'm not really seeing it much.
See, Adam Scott and Catherine Hahn appeared in Parks and Rec in 2009 together.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's probably
It was so many people that were on Parks and Rec at different points.
So, final thoughts. Yeah, still holds up.
Yeah, it's just still awesome.
Let us know what you guys thinking. If you think it still holds up, you can write in some feedback at screentimepod.com, or DM us or leave a comment. You can follow, like, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or follow us on Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok. And if you want to follow any one of us on Instagram, I'm at Jay Youngbar.
And I'm at Jared Youngbar.
All right, catch you guys next time.